Hello, everyone. I wanted to go over the assignment for week 2 since I've gotten a few emails about it. And I do want to go over, at the end, I'll go over how to do Canvas again because I have noticed some of you have not been watching the videos, which I'll show you how to get to them because they are really helpful and they've answered most of your questions you've actually emailed me. So I'll show you that after. So if you go to the second week module and you do the project brainstorm proposal, it has some info at the top here, and there is a document version of it. You don't have to download it if you don't want to. You can just look at this. This is fine that I have on here. And I do want to note the peer review and things like that are to be determined based off kind of how I feel the class is going and when I exactly want things due. So that's not quite determined yet. So you can ignore that. But I like to just show you kind of what is included in the final stages after you do the proposal. So for this proposal, you're only going to do part 1. And in this sheet, I copy and pasted just part 1 here. So that means the proposal for the research. So this part right here is actually part 2 reflection for when you do your assignment, but you don't have to worry about that right now because it's not attached to the end of it. That'll be for next week. So for part 1, the research proposal, the biggest thing is that you're going to search what you want to look for. So you're going to find a subject that you particularly are interested in, maybe have a passion in, and then you'll need to find an argument, create a thesis, a line of thought that you're going to show your audience. So it has to be argumentative, and it doesn't have to be popular issues necessarily either. I had someone talk with me about doing music. I've seen linguistics papers looking at racism and language. There's a bunch of options you can do as long as you can find some sort of argument or train of thought that you're producing to show your audience. It doesn't matter to me exactly what you do. I'm just going to look at this when you turn them in and give you some feedback on how I think you're doing, maybe ways you could think about an argument, or maybe some areas to keep in mind when you research so there's not really any pitfalls. But if we look at it, so for the research proposal, you will do MLA format, and there are MLA sources I will show you again. It's once again right on the front page at the top that you can easily access them. So the section 1, the discussion of the topic, you're going to want to give some background information, your interest and history with the topic and why. And for history, you can just do basic searches like on Wikipedia, for example, for right now. You can also just do general Google searches or history.com if it is a more historical subject. I do recommend that. And then talk about why the topic matters, why you're interested in it, what you like about it, why you might be exploring it. Now, do use full sentences, obviously, but it doesn't have to be quite like an actual paper type of thing. It's more of a proposal. But I want you to address kind of in your mind why it matters. And if you're having issues creating the 1 to 1.5 pages, I would recommend leaving it be for right now and then going back. And then in the section 2, the specific focus, that's where you're going to really look at questions you might want about the subject or questions you're thinking about. Try to avoid yes or no questions because that's not necessarily very argumentative per se. And right here I have an example. So include a research question. How does blank affect blank? And this can help you. And this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be your final run through or the final thing that you're researching, but it is an idea to help you really think in general. As we go on to next week, which you'll have an assignment that will also give you the ability to look at what you might want to research a bit more. You can change it if you really want to, or you're searching things up and you're like, I don't really like this subject or topic as much as I thought, or I can't really find anything, or don't know how to argue with it. You can do that. And then make sure that you talk about maybe in general the different viewpoints. So the controversy or disagreement over the topic, how people see it. Make sure to reflect on who your audience is. Why will they care? Think about different aspects that we have read in the book, like understanding rhetoric, or aspects like kairos, ethos, pathos, logos, and using things like that in your paper. And then just in general, you don't have to really do research for this part quite yet. I really want to know on the second section what you know about the topic. Maybe you really don't know much and you can say that. Or maybe you had a class that talked about it, or a few classes, or you had some experience in your life. I do want you to reflect that. And then the next question is, what don't you know yet but intend to find out? So what more do you want to know? And this is important because this will actually help you for the next week's assignment, which is library research scavenger hunt. And you can use that in your actual assignment sheet, which we'll get to next week. And then section 3, the research plan. This is more to help you because you will need secondary research. So that means library, internet, sources, books, things like that. And they can be online or they can be in person. But you will need that, and you will have to do primary research. So some sort of interview, survey, observation, focus group. And knowing with the pandemic that's going on, you don't have to have it obviously face-to-face. We all have social media, or most have email or something where we can reach out. So you can do a poll online, on Twitter, things like that, or you can email certain people or just send out an email to the class to do surveys on your subject and get observation notes, focus groups, kind of things like that, but having it be online, which is totally fine. And then you can talk about what sources you've looked at so far, what method you might be doing. Maybe even I recommend including aspects where maybe you're thinking of doing this type of research, but you're kind of having trouble, or you might find some pitfalls, and you can talk about that. And then make sure the biggest thing is that this is the guidelines at the end. Now, I want you to do 1.5 to 2 in length for a single space or 2 double. If you don't quite get there, it's not the end of the world. But I do recommend using this proposal as a way to go through your ideas and talk about them and really think about how you might go about doing this, because the second project, I'll show you in a minute how to find those handouts, but the second project, you're actually going to be doing the research paper that comes from this proposal. So this isn't an actual research paper itself. You're looking at a topic, thinking about a topic you want, you're talking about it, exploring it, type of thing like that, but you're not actually writing it quite yet, if that makes sense. You're going to have all the information so that you can eventually write it in project 2. So if we go here, I do want to show you some helpful videos or tips or things like that. If I go to student view, I'll show you. So right here, this is how it is viewed. So you can submit your assignment, and I will recommend, I do say Google Docs, and make sure that it is open and I am put in as an editor, because if I am not, I can't access it and I can't leave comments or feedback. And if I can't leave feedback, then that is on the student and not the instructor, because I couldn't get there in time to do that. But if we look right here, so week 2 project brainstorm and proposal, if we go here to modules, for example, these little mini lecture videos and general videos to help you out with assignments will start being posted within each week. So it's going to be posted on here, week 2 assignments and instructions, right on the first line. And also you can find them as a collective source right here, right at the top, where it says helpful videos, guides for class. And I give 2 options. So there's plenty of ways that you can see them, and they're very easily accessible. So if you go over here, I'll keep adding to it throughout the semester, but there's YouTube links and Loom links to find it. There's one on the Commonplace blog and book assignment, which I've gotten a lot of questions about. It's right there. There's one on how to use databases, leaving comments on Google Docs, navigating sharing on Google Docs. That is a big one. And then this is how to just use Canvas in general. And these are always going to be up during the semester, so you don't have to worry about it. And also there's this little section called files. So throughout the semester, I'll be uploading them, and that contains readings that you'll be doing, some just general handout information, stuff that can help you, project handouts and things like that. So in case you don't want to keep going back and having to search through the weekly modules for things, you can always come to files and then find those things right here. The syllabus is here as well. And then if there's also this tab at the bottom, which doesn't contain all the files. This one will only contain project handout. So commonplace, project 1 handout, and rubric. But as we go through and as we do the second project, that'll be uploaded and things like that. But the biggest thing for this assignment right now is that you're finding something that you will want to research about, talk about, and be kind of thorough, that you'll eventually be able to do that in the project 2, which is the actual 10-page research paper.